Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle. We are so glad you could join us. Tim Wilkins, as always, joined by the real deal.
Real deal in the house. How you guys doing?
Chris Cormier. Tarek Kilgindi. Hello, my friend.
Great to see you, Tim. I gotta say, great to see my friend Chris Cormier. It's gonna hurt to say it, but sometimes I do miss him.
It's been a while.
Yes.
And so between episodes, we all miss each other. It's a little awkward.
Yes.
So, and you've been sending us pictures on the WhatsApp of you in different places around the world holding the trophy that you took from Chris on our last trivia.
Correct. Yeah.
It's I'm sure it's traumatic for Chris, but for the viewers, that's how we live. Tarek travels, and it's
living on the edge.
What is that? There's a children's book where they've got the Flat Stanley, and you've taken the Golden Goat around the world judging shows.
Tim, it's extremely important for me to tell my children that I've defeated Chris Cormier on the regular basis. You know, everything we do nowadays is recorded on Instagram and YouTube. And I don't want my children to look back and say, Dad, how can you lose to Team Cormier? So I'm glad I came on top. I will come on top more often. Write on your comments why you prefer Team Tarek than Team Cormier.
Oh, gracious. So we're starting off that way. So let me give Chris his props, and it'll lead right into our first segment, which I absolutely love this first topic.
I need some props today.
So last time we were in town filming episodes, you were under the weather and still fighting something from you probably caught internationally that you brought back to the States, like rotten fruit, but you were 2 or 3 weeks down. That was brutal.
Yeah, but you said I look good, so I should get sick more often.
You should get sick more often, man. That looked good on you.
I could see a jawline and everything.
Yeah, it looked good. So speaking of jawline, so Chris and I ducked into the gym while you were catching up on some much-needed sleep, and man, Chris, I'm not saying he's making a comeback, but there are things, he's starting to pull it all back together, looking lean and mean. He's getting his strength back. Dude, that was a good workout.
Yeah, man, I put it down. Had the lats working, the rhomboids, everything was getting touched yesterday.
A lot of Latin. So here we are talking about guys over 50. This is where my segue was. Guys over 50, a lot of the competitors we love are over 50. The people in the sport that are the history of the sport. And one of our favorites, one of the GOATs in the GOAT pen, Jay Cutler, just turned 50. And he was so happy. He's been doing this fit at 50. And he took his shirt off at a show and said, I still got it. And here I am. Guys, Jay's looking good.
He looks incredible. I actually got a chance to see him in person at the Torture Gym. We had the grand opening of Torture Gym, and then it was New Tech showing the equipment to the Mr. Olympia, and Jay Cutler was there, and this guy is on fire. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. Pay close attention. Unfortunately, in the world of bodybuilding, we get very paranoid about how we look, right? We get very paranoid. If you want to look good, just go to Disney, and you'll look fly, man.
It is not a small world.
I'm just saying here. I want to be politically correct. You need to go to the doctor if you are, if you can't make it to a ride. Okay, America has a problem with obesity, and I'm telling you, go see a doctor, start eating well and exercising, get some trifecta, and join a gym. But anyways. In the bodybuilding world, everybody's paranoid about how they look. You see some of the best looking people and they're like, oh my God, I look horrible. Oh my God, I'm out of shape. I'm like asking guys, take off your shirt, let's shoot for Olympian News. And goes, oh man, I don't have a six pack. And they just lift the shirts and they got a six pack. What Jay Cutler is doing, he's letting all these guys say, hey man, it's perfectly fine to be your age. It's perfectly fine to be proud of your age and how you look at that age, okay? He's not scared. He's like, hey, I'm not 2009 Jay Cutler doing the quad stomp, but I'm a hell of a great looking man in my 50s, possibly one of the best looking men in his 50s, and he's proud of it. So he's teaching everybody a lesson. Man, if you retire, if you're 50, 60, 70, you still bodybuilding. He's still bodybuilding. He's still looking incredible. And what he is truly doing, he's possibly winning his greatest title. which is to be an ambassador for the Mr. Olympia lifetime by displaying a physique that you can have as you age.
Chris, guys, another one of your peers, Levrone. Kevin,
Yes.
looking shredded.
Yes, Kevin's doing a more athletic look, but you saw when he made his comeback, he was, I mean, I wish the comeback would have been at the press conference, because I think he blew it all out at the press conference. He took his shirt off and we were like, oh shit, we didn't expect this. But yeah, I mean, I got to commend both of the guys, because it's definitely not easy after you laid your sword down and you're not longer going into battle. It is not easy picking that sword back up and getting back in the gym and getting to that level of fitness.
There's some of those other guys, though, talking about the history of the sport. You got guys like Robbie Robinson, who just never faded away.
Yeah, so I met Robbie when I was 19 years old, and 18 or 19 years old, and he is, I've never to this day seen him pick up anything worse than a yogurt, and that was only one time. Since that time, since I've known him, and since
30 plus years.
Yeah, and you know, if he did go off and have a burger or have some, even oil, like I invited him to my house for dinner one time, and I had, I just had the Spanish rice out of the bag where you just put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
And I gave it to him, and he was like, Chris, like, I don't do oil. His lips are all shiny and shit. I felt so bad. Because it was like, damn, I'm sorry, man.
Well,
and, yeah.
You got guys like Robbie. You got the other guys. One of my favorites who wasn't a bodybuilder, but he was one of the icons of the magazines, the ads. Clark Bartram's about to turn 60 and looks insanely good, and he's making that big move. And you brought up a great point. Guys, a lot of people are competitors, and they get meals delivered. If you're a civilian, or if you're training civilians, which is harder for them to wrap their head around, I'm thinking ahead about my meals, I'm thinking ahead about cooking my meals, I'm bringing my meals. Go on the Trifecta website, just have them send you the foundations, the meats, and just throw a carb with it, and you're done. It's all you have to do.
One thing about the meal prep company, and Trifecta is the master of it, they're really saving you time, okay? I see some people spending their whole Sundays meal prepping. And with you can actually make all the money that you would spend on meal prepping if you actually worked on that day and you were productive. But it saves you time, and it prevents you from eating bad stuff if you have it in the fridge, okay? You don't have good food in your fridge, you might make wrong choices. Now, I want to touch something that might be controversial here. Don't back down, Chris. I'm not a fan of some of these comebacks. I got to be honest. I talked to Flex Wheeler. He's like, oh, God, he possibly regrets coming back. You know Kevin better than anybody. And he looked really good, but the legs were not there. It was an emotional moment. A lot of people vibrated with his comeback. But the image I have of Kevin Levrone is 2002, 2003.
Is it tainted now?
No, I don't think it's tainted. But I think that they should do what Jay Cutler is doing, okay? Create a different avenue, promote the sport, take off your shirt on stage, let everybody know, hey, I'm 50, I look good, and I'm proud. Then actually try to battle it out with guys that are 20, 25. What shall you say, Chris Cormier?
Battle it out. Do you say battle it out?
You get back on stage and go up against these young bloods.
No, well, I mean, with me, I just wanted to see the best version of myself and how far can I take that. And that's what I did. I mean, I don't have, and that's another thing when I used to train in Gold's Business, every time I touched the weight, you get someone almost catcalling you like, oh, you're going to make a comeback. Oh, here he comes. You're going to make a comeback. I was just like, let me just work out, man. Can you just stop? Can I just work out at this age and be okay with what I'm doing?
Well, here's the question for you. Tarek's going down this road. We'll go ahead and say it. Because as Jay snapped into shape, now there's all kinds of internet buzz of Jay and Phil Heath. You come back, I'll come back. I'll come back if you come back.
But I don't think he's... I mean, I could see I can see Phil. I don't see Jay. Jay's not going to do that. Jay's a Leo. He's a proud Leo. And I don't see him.
What's up with you and the signs? I mean, come on. We're not Sex in the City here.
We're Leos,
come on,
man. Leos have a certain pride about it.
Get real with this stuff. Oh, my God. I'm Aquarius. I got to compete by the water. What the hell are you talking about? We're going to get canceled. Okay?
Well, I know Phil's the Capricorn.
Every episode he's making Leo bullshit. Nico, edit that shit. Come on. Oh, we do
every episode.
The morning horoscope or something. Hey, here's the deal. Phil Heath shouldn't come back. Jay Cutler shouldn't come back because they are already doing great stuff like Jay did at the Expo, at the Masters Olympia. It was awesome. He was on stage. People loved him. The fans were on fire. That's what they need to do. They have the ability to open a new avenue to promote the sport. I don't like the comebacks. I don't. I'm going to be honest. I don't like it. I think you have a period of time where you play the game, you give your best. Even some of the greatest of all times, Muhammad Ali, his comeback was not good. Michael Jordan, I mean, he played well for the Wizards, but come on. He's a Michael Jordan from the Bulls from the 90s. Jay Cutler, man, awesome what he's doing. Phil, follow the same path. Let's have these guys open a new avenue so that competitors, when Nick Walker, when Derek Lunsford, when they get old, they go, hey, man, I don't need to do comebacks. I don't need to, I can do the Masters Olympia. I can look a little bit more downsized, or I can be Jay Cutler and promote the sport, promote anti-aging, rejuvenation. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's not a young man. It is a young man's sport.
It's a young man's sport.
It's a young man's sport. The skin tone, everything that goes into competition, and plus when you get to the golden age as we are, and I just feel like it's something for someone that's of age to make it happen like that. You're not going to get the best version of the real deal at this age.
Nope.
So I want to put you guys through it.
Thank you, Chris. We can't follow that. That is a great way to end, Tarek. Thank you. And guys, we'll be right back with our next segment. We'll be talking about one of the biggest rivalries, and someone's coming up going to be chomping at the bit to take that title away from a current Olympia when we come back on Primetime Muscle. And we're back, and we talk about all categories here. The only show that really does, as a matter of fact, that I'm aware of.
Listen, we are legitimate, Tim Wilkins. I mean, we have incredible categories. The female bodybuilding, the bikini, the figure. I know a lot of these YouTube channels, they only want to talk about bodybuilding. And I got to give credit. Some people are like branching out, talking about men's physique and other classes. But it's like the NFL. You can't just talk about the guy in the end zone. Then you don't know the sport. You got to talk about the third down conversion. You got to talk about your rushing average. You got to talk about your defense. You got to talk about everything to have a full understanding of the game.
Well, talking about that defense, somebody's going to be defending their Miss Olympia bodybuilding title this year. That is three-time winner Andrea Shaw. And everybody wants it. But we've got one new one that we're looking at that might have a decent shot at getting out there and making them pose and do those quarter turns a little longer. Christina Mendoza, guys. Whoa, let's walk through our comparisons. I'm going to start, Tarek. Let's start bottom to top on this. Those quads poking out. Only so much of that right there is posing. That's a beautiful quad sweep with good separation in the hams.
I judge thousands and thousands of physique every year. And I'm going to tell you this. This competitor, Christina Mendoza, is incredible, phenomenal. Look at this physique. The first thing we see is small waist, and then she's got the quads, right? Just like we were talking a few weeks back, Carlos Thomas Jr. You were born gifted. tiny little waist. You have the ability to develop the quads. On the back lat spread, yes.
Look where that starts.
And she's posing well. On the back lat spread, you know, her back is pretty good. We're going to talk about her back double biceps. Now, look, there's a buzz around after she won Chicago. There's a buzz around that this competitor, Christina Mendoza, can actually put the brakes on Andrea Shaw. And I had Bob Ciccarillo, who was there, and he was highly impressed. And Bob said, Tarek, she is the real deal. No pun intended. The female real deal. You're the original, okay?
Thank you.
Relax. I think she's a hell of a competitor. I think she's going to be in the mix. And who knows? Maybe when Olympia time comes, if she brings up the back double biceps, Tim Wilkins, we can see a battle for the ages.
Well, let's start, Chris. When we talk about the back, the details. You always talk about the details, and shows are won from the back. Those rear delts are so beautiful. Rhomboids, traps, the grainy and the feathery texture on the density of those triceps. It's a really beautiful bit of muscle.
Yes, I've seen her up close and personal in Las Vegas at the Dragon's Lair.
It's a famous gym, by the way.
Famous gym in Las Vegas, and very impressive. I mean, it's like, I don't know. The legs are very powerful. I didn't think of her as a big wide person, but she's kind of compact up top, but the legs like super flare. But I think that she's a very, very. I mean, she got. I think the side tricep shot is very powerful on her. The width, she's going to have a little bit of problem with the width with Andrea Shaw. That's the only thing I see that could stop her.
And Chris is right. For the first time in his existence, she is a bit narrow on the clavicle bones. But I want you guys to tell me, look at these legs. Who's got better legs? Chris, let's lose some followers right now.
Christina has better legs.
Christina, okay, from the back, the separation, glutes and hamstrings. Don't back down and just answer my question. Okay, who's got better legs from the back?
Christina.
Okay, Tim Wilkins, it's time for you to lose some followers, okay? On the side pose, this is Miss Olympia,
gracious.
Andrea Shaw.
All right.
Okay, move along here. This is very nice hamstrings, okay?
Very nice.
Very nice, very nice. I like. Very nice. Who's got better legs from the side?
You know what?
She does. It makes sense.
But, however, dial them in to that extra layer of body fat down to 1 or 2%, and that size always has to go too. I'm going to give that one back to Andrea Shaw.
Okay, so we're saying that this female bodybuilder by the name of Christina Mendoza is possibly beating the current Miss Olympia on the lower half.
Oh. Here's the thing.
Half of the body, she's beating the Miss Olympia.
I'll go there.
Here's the thing. What she has is the overall package. That's why she will remain the champion. Still to this day, she will remain the champion because head to toe, it's just a different package.
Now back to the upper half.
It's the tell of two competitors, the upper half and the lower half, on Christina. So if you back up a little bit, I could do my magic. The sartorius muscles, the Cormier's they call it, that's where you see the distance that she can put on Andrea. But Andrea still haven't even tapped into her potential. She still can be way, way, way better than what she is right now.
So with that being said, you're having Andrea Shaw winning the 2023 Miss Olympia.
Slam dunking it.
I'm saying I can't say anything. I'm judging the event.
Slam
but
dunking
I'm giving Christina Mendoza, the Chicago Pro champion, Tim Wilkins, a lot of credit.
You are, and we all should.
She'll be in the top three.
We definitely should. She'll be in the top three, if not the top two.
So tell me who the top three is. Angela Yo is there.
Yep.
Okay, so you're leaving Natalia Kovaleva out of the top three.
Ouch.
Yep.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yep. She is third.
Yeah, it hurts.
And Angela Yo is second.
Yo second.
Yeah.
You guys forgetting about Hele Trevino.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm still there. Because these girls are younger.
Listen, this is just a fact.
She's been a great champion.
Do not back down and make some enemies.
No.
Are you leaving Natalia Kovaleva out of the top 3 at the Olympia.
I'm also forgetting Myla Ash.
Myla Ash looked freaking incredible in Atlanta.
Hell isn't even competing.
Okay.
So back off with
What
that.
do you mean?
She ain't doing the Olympia. She's not in the Olympia.
Where did you hear that?
Don't worry about it.
Can we get confirmation on that? Myla Ash?
Myla Ash is Hella Trevino, you're thinking. Hella Trevino.
Call Myla Ash.
Trevino.
Myla Ash is.
Myla Ash just won the Atlanta show.
Now,
So anyway.
she looked good in Atlanta. She looked better the next week.
Yeah, so if you see the sartorius muscles, the sweep, I mean, I don't think anyone in the women's bodybuilding is going to beat that bottom half. It's just the top half where...
But now, to your point, Tarek, thickness, you talk about the density of pec, the clavicle. She's doing that, like you said with Chris, that Bumstead turn. When you've got the width of the clavicle with the density up top, you're going to give that slight turn and give yourself even more width across the top. And she's just crushing that. Where Christina, I know it's one pose at one time, but she's almost side to side, pulling that pec over, where Andrea knows I can go sideways and still have enough pec and shoulder to do that.
Tim, the only person that can possibly look prettier than C-Bum on the side chest is Andrea Shaw. God have mercy, that woman looks just perfect on that side chest. Look at that. Look at that.
That's a perfect shot for her.
But
I just think still for sure she can be better. She could be about 20% better that she's not even touching on yet. And I've told her that many times. So
well, everybody can be better, but man, she looks incredible already. Maybe adding a little bit of legs. Andrea Shaw is dominant. But don't forget about Christina Mendoza, Myla Ash in the Atlanta show. Myla Ash is one of the most intelligent bodybuilders we have. Myla Ash knows if Myla Ash is right between them, she'll know how to expose Christina and possibly attack Andrea Shaw.
I'm going to throw in some history because you'll appreciate this as well.
Okay.
I know we tend to judge, and we have to, physiques in this sport. There's a couple divisions where it's a full package. We're kind of judging the whole thing. But let's do a checkup from the neck up. Adding to the grace and the bodybuilding, the grace and beauty of the physique and the overall package, Christina Mendoza is bringing back a very muscular Rachel McLeish. You think about the overall beauty of that level of competitor. Now, Rachel, back then, you could be Miss Olympia at 135, and that was bikini size back then. It wasn't even figure or physique. Because bodybuilding has evolved for the women as much as the men.
But they're looking pretty.
They're looking pretty.
Drop dead gorgeous. Look at their faces. Their physiques are beautiful. You put a dress on these women and they look feminine and beautiful. At some point in our sport, it wasn't that. And right now we are living one of the, I'm not saying we're living the Linda Murray age, but female bodybuilding is doing a comeback. Look at these women. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
You put them a dress in Las Vegas and every guy in the world would be like, who the hell are they? They're the most beautiful girls in Las Vegas.
That's what I love about the banquet.
So do you think no one's really pushed Andrea all this time? Do you think this is a look of her cruising, or is it a look that she is scared to lose her title? I don't think she was scared to lose her title.
I'm going to say that she's won unanimously the last couple years. She is dominant, but we're starting to see a surge of people. In the beginning, when Andrea Shaw came on stage and won her first title, it was like, man, this girl is going to cruise to 6, 7, 8 Olympias. But, hey, here's somebody showing up with possibly better legs. Natalia Kovaleva, she has the mass on top to fight. And then you got Angela Yo coming in with great conditioning. So we're not seeing just a dominant Andrea Shaw. We're starting to see some sharks in the water.
Now, I will say, having talked to her at Masters Nationals 2 years ago, or last year, she was hungry. And not only was she hungry to retain her title, she was hungry to be the Dexter Jackson of the Arnold to the Rising Phoenix, where she's going to just make a car collection. She was going to win the Vet, the Camaro, the big truck from last year. She was coming back hungry to retain all the titles that she'd won in the past. I don't think she gets complacent.
I would like to see her train angry and mad, like somebody's about to try to take my title. like you took my GOAT trophy. I would like to see her that mad.
Well, you can't match that kind of
And
passion.
then if
you know
she
what I mean?
come-
Let's get real
if she
here.
come like that.
You can't match that kind of passion. You know what I mean?
Just watch.
The
Just watch.
Brazilian black belt jiu-jitsu just knocked you down like a little bitch.
Well, guys, Tarek, if you want to bring it in, we will go to break.
Bring it in.
We're gonna come up. We got another huge rivalry in figure coming up, where not one but two people we think are in shape and pushing Sid Gillen to make sure that she better be training angry to get to the Olympia and keep that keep that title. When we come back on Primetime Muscle.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
All right, we are now talking the figure division. Sid Gillen has been dominant the last couple years, that X frame, but Jessica Reyes-Padilla is always chipping at her heels. But now, Tarek, you're really saying Lola Montez is got to be in that mix for the top spot.
Pay close attention to what I'm about to say, okay? This is important information. I did a live with Sydney Gillen on Olympia Live, and Sydney Gillen is very confident, and she should be. But I said, Sid, out of all the people that have competed against you, who was the one that really put the fight? And she said, Tarek, LaToya Watts. And the reason she said that is because in order for you to beat Sydney Gillen, which is what LaToya Watts did, you need to be a genetic freak. What I mean a genetic freak is you need to have tiny little waist and very, very large clavicle bones. The figure category is the hardest category in bodybuilding.
Why?
Why? Because there's not a lot of variations on the posing. You're going to do a front stance, and every single judge is going to see your waist and your ratio. Bottom line, there's no hiding. If you're a bikini competitor, you can do a side shot. Women's physique, you can create angles with your front double biceps. Even bodybuilding, classic physique, with the figure is 4 shots, and you're either good or you just don't have it. And when you have this thing here, this tiny little waist here, you got a problem for all your competitors, because your ratio is going to look beautiful. Jessica Padilla is phenomenal. She's got the conditioning, the experience. But guys, come close to me if you want to live. Okay? Come close to me. What do you think about this genetics? This tiny waist, these quads? This is a genetic freak coming to play in the figure division, okay? Watch Lola Montez from Canada. She's won the Toronto show 2 years in a row. She's just new to the game, and she's placing top 3 at the Olympia. Chris Cormier, talk about her Cormiers.
Yeah.
Those Sartorius.
As you see, the Sartorius looks almost like seat belts on her physique here. But I think she's going to dominate from the lower half over the whole top 3 girls. I think she's going to dominate right here. I mean, I don't know if the judges really want to see all of that, but I like it personally myself. So if you can get a little bit more capped in the shoulders and a little bit more of a back development, then I could see Lola giving both of the 2 girls that was ahead of her some trouble. What do you think?
I think one of the places we run into trouble when we compare people by pictures, which, when judges get pictures for feedback, you're getting the best. Sometimes we don't get that one moment in time. If you look at that, it would be the left delt. It looks really capped. It might be the angle on the right, and on the angle where that left is capped, the arm is thick. The density is there. I think she's got a slight turn. So I think she may have it. I mean, mass of the lats wise, she might have some ground to make up.
Yeah, but you know, when you're an embryo and you're forming into a human being, or and then you go take that, you start to make your body grow, you're lifting with weights, you're gonna find that you have imbalances throughout your body. So one side of your pec may be bigger than the other side, and vice versa with the shoulders, the lats, even the insertions of the latissimus dorsi region on up to the teres majors and minors. All this stuff is going to be imbalanced from the other side, because there's not many people who are very identical on either side of the body. So with that being said, when you're a figure competitor, you have to just, like Tarek said, stand here, and you're standing here, and then to the back. There's not a lot of room to try to hide imbalances or anything like that. So you just got to go dead on. But I just think Sid had that perfectly done for so many years already. They are like, the judges are kind of like, okay, who's going to beat that? And that's what we haven't seen so far.
Now, Tarek, this is a judging thing, and this is somewhere like Tampa Pro and Chicago, where I had an issue. I had an issue because a couple of my friends that sent their pictures said, why did I place 4th and 7th? And I looked and I said, you know, it's a question for the judges, because there are specific categories in like figure where you can't have visible striations and feathers. You can have separation, which here you've got a really nice separation with a softness to the muscle belly, without over there with Sid where you've got actual striations and feathers in like the lower the teardrop. I would think that this is the ideal level of leg.
Correct. Now, you got to take in consideration a few things. You get a bikini girl who shouldn't have a single vein, who shouldn't have a single striation, and you get her to flex, you're going to see all that. Does that make sense? So a lot of times is, hey, do not contract certain body parts that are going to make you look more on the upper criteria. I judged Natalia Coelho in Florida 5-6 years ago as a figure competitor. She looked incredible, but she had deep separation, striations here. She didn't even relax her legs to make it a little softer. If you are over conditioned, that's what you should do. Even bikini competitors should do that, okay? So you have to understand how lean you are, and you have to understand your body. I'm gonna give you a good tip here. Bikini competitors, sometimes they already have overdeveloped shoulders. What do? They open their lats a little bit to make the waist look small. That overdeveloped shoulder looks even bigger now. So what do you have to do if you have overdeveloped shoulders? Not open your lats so much. Understanding your body and posing. Right here, good separation, could be just a little bit deeper. I think Sid has a little bit, but maybe soften up a little bit, and maybe Lola can soften up just a little bit. And Tim, sometimes it's just a little contracting less that will do.
What about the competitors that's listening to you and saying, I did that, and then I lost my show to a girl that looked like that.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that's why you gotta be in the show, because a lot of times you see pictures of somebody and it's when they're hitting the worst pose, and then the person goes in and, how come I lost the show? And here's my picture. Hold on now, Tiger. Were you positioning yourself like this throughout the whole time? No. Did you take this picture from the competitor on the side? Yes. That's why judging the show physically and being there is completely different than the pictures.
So how do you tell someone that looks like you could put quarter slots in?
I would say, listen, Lola Montez, here's the deal. Your legs present very good separation, maybe a little bit further than figure. When you contract your legs, try to contract a little bit less so we don't see those deep cuts.
Otherwise, we're heading towards physique competition.
Absolutely. That's why I told Natalia, you lost the show. You lost the show to Yabekova, who's a Canadian competitor, because she had deep separation. This is my feedback to Lola Montez. You got these beautiful legs, but we don't want to see these deep cuts. Soften up on your carbs, do whatever with your coach, or when you come down to the posing, don't contract as much.
So here's a question for you, because I know people fly from all over the world to just pose with you for a couple days. So whether it's figure, men's physique, classic or open, you've got people that you want to hit that quad. There's a certain way to hit the quad, and there's that little twist of the knees. How do you hit those versus soften those teardrops and the outer pop with just the knee? Is it a toe? Where do you put somebody's mind to get that thing to hit right?
Everyone's individually, placed here on this earth, so it just depends on who you're working with. So if you can have a slight bend in the knees, sit your hips back slightly, depending on your condition, depending on the development, then you could kind of flex the right leg to the right, flex the left leg to the left, and you'll get what you're looking for. But like Terry is saying, depending on your physique and how your body's set up, you may have to manipulate or change a certain way you're going to pose or present yourself according to how you look and according to your genetic makeup.
So the figure competitors, I would think it's a tough balance because for the women, the legs would shred up first. So you're already getting harder than you want downstairs while you've got that last little bit coming off the top.
Hey, you gotta learn who you are. Ronnie Coleman, abs and thighs. He loved hitting the obliques because he knew his abs were not great, okay? Now, you call Flex Wheeler, he's not going to show his obliques. He's like, this is my time to go after. I'm going to show my cormiers and my perfect abs. Now, on the back double biceps, right, Chris Cormier might not be beating Ronnie Coleman. He might create a variation with the arms to get a little distraction here. Ronnie Coleman is going to hit that back double biceps and say, I got you, Cormier.
And he's going to go, ooh.
Know your body. Posing is showing your strengths and hiding your weaknesses.
My first competition, the guy training me and doing my posing said, I don't want you to pose with your legs apart. Maybe they'll think you have one really big leg instead of two small legs. True story.
That's how it works.
That hurt a lot.
That's how it works.
Well, guys, as always, Olympia coming up fast, November 2nd to the 5th in Orlando. Expo bigger and better than it's ever going to be. But we have some true rivalries with some great competitors in that second, third, and fourth place spot in every category that are just chomping to get that Olympia title.
It's going to be, it's always a great show, but man, who doesn't want to see Natalia versus Sarah? I mean, you got to be kidding me. You have no pulse if you don't want to. Lola Montez, Jessica Padilla, they now believe they can beat Sydney Gillen, okay? Nick Walker, he looked straight up and say, I'm going to be Mr. Olympia. Some people, they're underestimating Hari Schupan. Hey, what about the classic physique weight limit? Now you got Ramon with 7 pounds, Rough Diesel. In the last couple weeks here, we had the announcement from the great Chris Cormier that his boy, Breon Ansley, is giving a shot back at the Classic.
9 pounds, Breon's getting.
Tim Wilkins is going to be emceeing the Olympia Amateur. Robert Ciccirillo is going to be at the Olympia. This is going to be incredible. Olympia TV is going to be there. Man, I can't hold my excitement.
Guys, be sure, as always, thank you for joining us. Like, share, comment, give us your predictions for figure, for women's bodybuilding, and throw a couple predictions in for the open and other classes that you love. As always, guys, it goes by so fast.
Oh, man. I mean, I was just thinking of all the people here were talking about that. I know Jessica Reyes she's coming for the title. I talked to her on a continuous basis, and I know she is really coming for that title this year. So watch out, Sid. Watch out, Lawyer.
Tarek,
Lola.
Hey, it's going to be a war.
Going to be a war. All right, folks, we'll see you very soon on the next Primetime Muscle.